Good evening and welcome to the second hour of Notre Dame Day. There he is, touchdown Jesus. It's a great sight, better known as the Word of Life mural, the proper name.
I never knew that.
Yeah, see, you come to Notre Dame Day and look, you can learn something.
It's just touchdown Jesus.
It is, and we really like it after a touchdown. We hope to see a lot of those touchdowns this fall. We are broadcasting live from the Grosjean Family Loft in the new Duncan Student Center right next to the legendary Notre Dame Stadium. I'm Ann Thompson. I'm the Chief Environmental Affairs Correspondent for NBC News, and I am a member of the class of 1979. And joining me today is fellow Domer Steve Garagiola. And Steve, we didn't have a student center like this when we were here, did we?
No, we've been reminiscing about how this campus has changed over the last, 4 or 5 years, however it was when we were here. But Domers, by the way, if you have not been to the Duncan Center, it is spectacular. You will want to come here and just check it out. We are pulling out all the stops for this second hour. You met so many fantastic people in the first hour. I am a Domer myself, class of 1977. Those of you Domers in Metro Detroit, you know normally on a Sunday evening I would be sitting behind a different anchor desk at Local 4, WDIV, but this is coming home for me, and this is a great place to be on a Sunday night. It is certainly a pleasure to be part of the 5th annual Notre Dame Day, and there's nothing else like it in the country. Who would be foolish enough to take this on? 29 hours of a project like this, meeting so many extraordinary people, and you've just gotten a taste so far of some of the incredible stories. The women's preliminary round of the Fighting Irish 40 later tonight. The men will get their turn. That'll be in the next hour. Watch the men's preliminary round. Everybody trying to qualify to compete against the football team's fastest runners. I'm not sure you want to take on that challenge, but they will. That'll be in the stadium on a Monday night. You can catch the fighting in the 9 p.m. hour tomorrow night. Later tonight, during the 9 p.m. hour, we're going to hear from golfer Patrick Reed, who just won the Masters. Interestingly enough, he went to the University of Georgia, but he's a huge Notre Dame fan, and he wore all Notre Dame gear to a Georgia Notre Dame game, and
he did, and he survived.
He made people so mad, but we're with you, man, because he's all for the Irish.
I think that's just wonderful. That's going to be a fun interview. I can't wait to hear his story. And we're also going to hear sports, and we're going to hear some music tonight. Irish singer-songwriter Chloe Agnew, formerly of Celtic Woman. She's going to be performing live during the 9 p.m. hour tonight. She's also going to be leading a sing-along to Here Come the Irish, written by John Scully of Notre Dame football fame, in the Haggerty Family Cafe. That's going to start at 10 p.m. So if you're on campus tonight, come on over, join in the fun. Chloe will also be performing tomorrow night along with the Chicago cast of the smash hit Hamilton, and the associate director there was Patrick Vossel, who is a Notre Dame grad. They are going to be putting on a one-of-a-kind show for us from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow night at Layton Hall, and you don't want to miss that. So if you're in the area, be sure to come. You've got to get a ticket. Tickets will be distributed beginning at noon tomorrow at the DeBartolo Performing Arts Center ticket office. And for those of us who love music, but let's be honest, can't carry a tune in the bucket. I don't know anybody like that. The Observer, the student newspaper here at Notre Dame, is going to hold their first ever lip sync battle during the midnight hour. So if you need help of keeping track of all of that, we've got you covered. You can find our complete broadcast viewing guide on NotreDameDay.nd.edu.
Well, I guess we kind of take for granted how awesome Notre Dame is.
I know, when you think about this, and in all different aspects of our country's culture and our country's history and politics, it's just extraordinary.
And all over the world, where Domers are taking their talents and their expertise. It's amazing. Well, we still haven't really talked about the best part yet, and that is how this all works. Through the rest of these 29 hours, you will be part of the challenge created by donors. It's valued over $1.1 million. This fund will go to residence halls, academic units, athletic clubs, student organizations on campus, the athletic teams. You have the power to determine where that $1.1 million goes. So if you're watching this, you get a financial gift. You give to Notre Dame, that earns votes. You can then use those votes to apply those to any of the 900 organizations that are part of this. The more votes an organization gets, the larger percentage of that $1.1 million that goes to that organization. So if you'd like to vote and you're watching right now on our Facebook stream, just go to NotreDame.nd.edu. That's NotreDameDay.nd.edu. Click the Give and Vote button. It is all in your power to decide where that money goes. So vote, give some money to this fabulous university, and then place it where you think it belongs.
Now, before we get started, we need to mention that there are so many people working here behind the scenes to make this production possible. You can see our crew over in the control room of Corbett Family Hall. They're working very hard. Keep it up, guys. We're very proud of you. Way to go.
There they are.
There they are. Thank you very much. And here in Duncan Student Center, we've got our studio crew in the Grosjean Family Loft. And downstairs, we have even more people working on the Hiller Family Midfield set and performance stage. And with all the great stories that we have to share with you, there's really not a second to lose. So let's get started. This hour, we've got the head of Radio Flyer, a special segment with Joe Theismann that's sure to get your sweet tooth aching, a performance by the Irish dance team, and those crazy Golics. They're going to be going for gold, but in curling. I can't wait to see that. First up, though, we have an interview with the Honorable Amy Coney Barrett, an alumna and faculty member of the Notre Dame Law School, who was recently confirmed as the Seventh Circuit judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals. But before we get all that started, let's check in upstairs in the Danke Ballroom on the 7th floor to get a Notre Dame Day voting update. Take it away.
We try. All right. Hey, thanks again. We're back up here, the 7th floor of Duncan Student Center. The Danke Ballroom, we've got hundreds of students here representing different AOIs. They're emailing, they're texting their relatives. They're trying to get those gifts and votes as we get started here on Notre Dame Day. A huge thank you to the hundreds and thousands of members of the Notre Dame family who have made that minimum $10 gift and cast your 5 votes for this year's $1.1 million challenge fund. We already have over 12,500 gifts. That's halfway to last year's gift total, and we're only a little over an hour into Notre Dame Day. So thanks to everyone. I'm here joined by 2 different student groups. They're going to tell us a little about themselves and a little bit about the AOIs that they want you to give and vote for on Notre Dame Day. So let's start over here. Your name, your year, and where you're from.
Hello, my name is Kelly Fricke. I'm from Kailua, Hawaii. I'm a junior, and we're representing the Women's Club Water Polo team.
Great.
I'm Katie. I'm from Riverside, California, and I'm also here representing the Women's Club Water Polo team.
Awesome. Let's take to these gents.
I'm Dean Dimitri from Knott Hall. I'm a sophomore representing the Adoptive Family Christmas Initiative.
I'm Dino Swan from Rochester, New York. Dylan Hall, a senior, also representing the Adopt Family Christmas Initiative.
I knew I liked this guy, a Dylan man. So tell us a little bit about women's water polo, what you guys are hoping to do with some of the Challenge Fund dollars this year.
Yeah, so women's water polo has been a really competitive club throughout the years. We have a broad variety of students from Notre Dame, Holy Cross, St. Mary's, freshmen through seniors, and even some grad students now. So we are very competitive. We need funds to go to tournaments, to go to California for our spring break training trip. So we're really looking for support to help us continue this.
All right, and then you guys tell us about Adopt a Family.
So over the last 2 years, the Adopt a Family Christmas Initiative has raised over $40,000 for families in need in the South Bend area. That goes to Thanksgiving meals and Christmas presents to people who wouldn't have it otherwise. Notre Dame Day has been a huge part of that, and anything that you can give and contribute today means the world to us and to the families in need in South Bend.
Yeah, and every dollar goes directly to helping buy presents for families and buying Thanksgiving dinner.
Awesome. Well, thanks to you guys. And again, if you go to the Notre Dame Day website, there's a whole tab now, Endy in the Community, where you can support local South Bend initiatives, such as Center for the Homeless, areas like that. We encourage you to go ahead and give and vote to those areas as well. A couple other updates. This hour's hourly challenge, $500 for athletics. So the athletics teams and clubs, like in women's water polo, the water polo team, gifts and votes, $500 to that group this hour. And if you're on campus, 10 o'clock tonight, the famous Chloe Agnew, famous vocalist from Celtic Woman, will be performing what we're calling the Here Come the Irish Sing-Along in the Haggerty Family Cafe in Duncan Student Center. So come on down. It's a free show. You're going to love it. 10 o'clock tonight. Let's send things back downstairs to the 2nd floor.
If a seed planted in dirt can one day preserve a species or cure the sick, or resurrect a people withering economically, we dream of what a seed planted in the mind and heart can one day do.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Ann Thompson. Our next guest is one of the leading voices on constitutional law, the Honorable Amy Coney Barrett, and she was confirmed as a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit last year. She is a Notre Dame Law School alumna and has taught as a member of the law school's faculty since 2002. Judge Barrett, we are so thrilled that you are here. Welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you, Anne.
It's really great to have you here. First of all, what drew you to Notre Dame Law School?
I loved Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame's mission. I considered going to law school at a lot of different places, but it was really Notre Dame's combination of academic excellence and its spirit and its mission, its Catholic character that drew me.
You had an opportunity to come as an undergrad, but you went somewhere else.
I considered it. I ended up going to, I was mentioning to you before the segment started that I went to Rhodes College in Memphis. But I had toyed with that idea as an undergrad and happy I had the chance in law school.
You had a tremendous opportunity to clerk for Justice Antonin Scalia, who I think, regardless of what people think about his politics, is one of the most brilliant legal minds that has sat on the Supreme Court. What did you learn from him?
Oh, wow. I learned how to write. I learned sharp, and I learned how to analyze a problem really sharply. I mean, he pressed things to the end. He didn't care about the result. He just wanted to get it right. He was quick-witted, and he worked really hard. So really, just all the things that make a lawyer great are the things that he tried to teach us.
And he and Justice Ginsburg shared a love of opera.
They did share a love of opera. They were very close.
So you went through a very difficult confirmation hearing, or at least it appeared difficult. You got a lot of support from your colleagues at Notre Dame. And in particular, Father Jenkins wrote a beautiful letter in support of your nomination because some people questioned your Catholic faith. And he said, and your adherence to your Catholic faith. And he wrote a beautiful line that said, they should be excited to have someone who has such a deep faith value, but who can still be objective. What did that support mean to you as you went through that confirmation hearing?
I was so grateful for Father Jenkins' support, and my colleagues wrote such a beautiful letter, and their support, it really brought tears to my eyes, and it said, honestly, more about Notre Dame than it said about me. That Notre Dame, despite many differences that we have on the faculty, we don't think alike about every issue, but we really pull together. It's collegial. People care about one another. And to have that support, it just affirmed for me how lucky I am to be part of the Notre Dame community.
What do you think is the secret to collegiality?
Caring about people and seeing people as people and engaging with them and who they are and not just ideas. To really engage with people, I think today so often people are only focused on their commitments to ideas and not to people. And I think it's the personal relationships that matter.
And then that's how we find common ground.
Absolutely.
You had your investiture here at Notre Dame,
yes.
in the courtroom.
I did, yes.
Why did you choose to have it here, and what did it mean to have it at the law school?
I wanted it to be here rather than the Seventh Circuit hears cases in Chicago, so that's where I sit to hear arguments. But you know, my professional colleagues for the last 15 years and my friends and family are in South Bend, and so it's more traditional for a new judge to do the investiture in the city where they are from and where their primary chambers will be. And to have it at Notre Dame in the courtroom is very meaningful to me, obviously, as a graduate. And, you know, Notre Dame trained me to be a lawyer, and I have trained other people to be lawyers at Notre Dame, and it was so meaningful to me to have it there.
Now, one thing that people may not know about you is that you're the mother of 7 children.
Yes,
okay.
I am.
So how do you do this?
With the help of my marvelous double-domer husband, Jesse Barrett.
Oh, my God, he's a saint.
He is wonderful. I am extremely lucky.
Oh, that's tremendous. And what are the ages of your kids?
My oldest is 16, and then we have 2 14-year-olds, one adopted, one biological. Then we have an 11-year-old, this is going to be a test if I know all their ages, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Do they think it's cool do they say, like, here comes the judge when mom's walking down the hall, or are they like...
totally unimpressed.
Well, we're very impressed, and we're very thankful that you're here, and thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to come And we are so proud of you, and best of luck to you on
Thanks
the
very
court.
much.
And
Thank you.
so now we're going to go check in with Joe Theismann, who is at the Hiller Family Midfield Performance Stage, where he's got a pretty sweet contest going on. Joe?
Thank you, Ann. Speaking about Here Comes the Judge, we're going to do some judging right now. I'm here with Aaron Wood, chef of the Haggerty Family Cafe, one of the university's newest fine dining options. And Chef Aaron, explain what we're going to be doing now.
Today we're going to be having a gelato contest with, we have 4 teams of Notre Dame students who are going to compete head-to-head to pick their best gelato that they have. We have 29 ingredients. So they get to pick 4 ingredients in 2 minutes, and our contestants do not know what ingredients we have yet, so it'll be kind of like an Iron Chef.
And once this gelato is made, and once I get to choose the winner, by the way, it will be better than the Golic sandwiches as it was last year, just as an FYI. It's going to be on the menu at Haggerty's for an entire year called the Theismann. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the winner of this gelato contest will, besides bragging rights, they will have their gelato featured on our Haggerty Family Cafe menu called the Theismann.
So what's the process?
The process is for gelato, pretty simple process. We make our own gelato, handmade from scratch inside our cafe. We make sorbets, gelatos, all from scratch, from different crazy flavors as well.
What's the craziest flavor that you've made?
I've made some pretty crazy flavors. I've made donut gelato, apple pie gelato, some good flavors I made, raspberry, cheesecake gelato. So there's a lot. We change our menu very often, so it's very unique.
Now we get a chance to meet some of the other gelato experts behind us. We're going to see the contestants here. All right, your name and the dorm you're representing, okay?
All right, I'm Sophia Cardati. I'm Caroline Gerges.
And the dorm?
Howard Hall.
Howard Hall, all right, here we go.
I'm Ryan Mullen.
Brendan Burke. And?
O'Neill Hall.
O'Neill Hall, all right.
I'm Gabby Klaczynski.
I'm falling over, Gabby, you scared me. All right, go ahead.
Sorry about that, Gabby. Lisa Maria Lang.
And?
Ryan.
All right, Ryan, okay. And?
Jack Hour.
Cameron Kopp.
All right, and?
Keo Hall.
All right, so now we know what now what we're going to do. Now what we want to do is, I believe, we're going to take a step back and take a look at some of the ingredients that are here. Let's see, Chef, what do we have?
All right, so we're going to start with, we have some sauce.
Now, this is the first time any of the contestants have had an opportunity to look at what it is. That's not really true. They've been cheating, actually, during this entire time period, but that's okay. It's the only time you can get away with it. Got some raspberry jam.
We got some sauces. We have raspberry jam, Nutella, peanut butter, caramel, chocolate. Then we kind of go into our fillings a little bit. Oreos, brownies, red velvet cake, cheesecake, chocolate cake, some jelly beans.
Hold on one second. Okay, go ahead.
We have an apple pie. We have Snicker pieces, pecans, donuts.
All right.
We're going to go white chocolate chips, marshmallows, some waffle cone crumbles, some bacon, which is an odd one, but we'll see what they can do with that.
Bacon.
That's right. Andy's Mints, Reese's Cups, Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, peaches, strawberries, bananas, mangoes, blueberries, and pineapple.
All right, here we go. We getting ready to go? All right. All right, we're going for, it's going to be a 2-minute time limit. On your marks, grab your bowls. You can't make gelato without bowls. I figured that out. All right. Ready, set, go. There we go. It's a mad scramble, Chef. Oh, look at this. Look at the move going behind the table. Now they're starting to nudge one another away. Look at this. I am very curious to see what they're going to come up with, aren't you?
It's going to be very interesting. We have some crazy gelato ingredients, so it'll be interesting what 4 ingredients they'll come up with.
I want to see which one goes with the bacon.
That's the one I'm most interested to see what they can pair with that.
Now what we're going to be doing is you're going to be taking the ingredients, and you're going to be taking them back to the Haggerty. You're going to put them in your magic blender, and that what you're going to do is you are going to then get it ready for tomorrow, and we're going to have this tasting tomorrow night, right?
That's correct. I'll kind of talk with the groups after, and we'll kind of see what ingredients they added to it, and I'll be making the gelato tomorrow morning, and we'll have it ready for tomorrow night for the results.
Now, is gelato when I go some places, I ask for ice cream, and they say, we don't have ice cream, we have a gelato. Now, what's the difference between ice cream and gelato?
Well, gelato's better, in my opinion. Of course. It's right. It's actually healthier. It has less heavy cream in it. There's more air incorporated to it as well, to kind of make it light and fluffy. So I personally like gelato. I mean, I've been working with it for about 6 months now. So.
Okay, good. We got about 30 seconds to go. Everybody's writing down their ingredients now. Frantically writing their ingredients. This looks very, very interesting. I think, has there ever been a four-way tie? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Has there ever been a four-way tie in the gelato contest? Not this one. All right, so we know what's going in. What's our time frame? 10, 9, 8, 7. And all right. We're the ingredients. Let's hear it for our chefs to be, I guess you could say. Let's do it that way. All right. Well, time's up. You can step away. Everybody step back away. We don't want anybody trying to do anything. And we're going to find out what's in the mix tomorrow when they make the gelato. And Chef Aaron's going to help prepare it. And I'm going to throw to you, Steve, with another Joe.
Oh, thank you, Joe. It looks so delicious. Well, Joe Theismann was a star on the football field. In this segment, we're going to talk about being a star in a Broadway show, but what might even be tougher than that, having to fill in for the star, especially when he is a bona fide Hollywood superstar. Notre Dame alum Joe Wilson Jr. is doing just that. He will serve as the understudy for Tony and Oscar winner Denzel Washington in the upcoming revival of Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Joining us now via the Notre Dame Day video hotline is Joe Wilson Jr. Joe, thank you for joining us on Notre Dame Day.
I am so thrilled to be here. I am so excited. I'm so nervous.
Oh, yeah, I'm nervous. Well, we are thrilled to have you talk with us. Can you give us an idea of the path that took you from Notre Dame to the Broadway stage?
Well, that's a bit of a long story, but I'll try and give you the abbreviated version. I was my degree is in political science, government. I graduated with a BA in government. And I took an acting class in the final year of the end of my junior year in college, because I didn't want to mess up my GPA. I thought, well, acting, I can get an easy A. And so my plan was actually to leave Notre Dame and to go into law school. And I had been accepted into some law schools. And so that was the plan. But I took an acting class to just waste time. And the rest is history. That senior year, I took more acting classes. I directed. I acted in more shows. And then as I got into law schools, I went away with my buds who were in the theater program to audition for graduate programs in acting to see what, could have happened, because I was going to law school. But what could have happened was I got accepted into triple the amount of graduate programs in acting to receive my master's degree in acting than I did law schools. And so I called my parents and told them that I was not going to law school, but I was going to go to acting school. And my father yelled and my mother cried. But I ended up getting my MFA in acting, and I worked and lived in Minneapolis at the Guthrie Theater, the University of Minnesota there, and got my degree in acting. And then I moved to New York. A show came into Minneapolis that I met an agent, and I got a starring role in that was supposed to go to Broadway and didn't. And from that, I met my agent, and he said, when you come to New York, Joe, look us up. And so I moved to New York that January, and I booked my first Broadway show, which was Superstar on Broadway, Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway, and that was in 2000. I lived and worked in New York until 2005, and the old adage is you live in New York to work outside of New York, because all of the regional theaters come to New York to do their casting. And so a theater called Trinity Repertory Company out of Providence, Rhode Island, cast me in a show, then cast me in another show. And that's where I have now been for 13 seasons. The past 13 years of my life, I've been a member of the
I hear your mom and dad way back then. You want to be an actor? What? Yeah. Law school? You want to be an actor? All right, so you are serving as Denzel Washington's understudy in the role of Hickey. I guess my question is, certainly some in the audience, they go to the theater and Denzel Washington not performing tonight in that role, and they're so disappointed. Is there an extra incentive to win over that audience? Because you know some of them are disappointed that Denzel is not there.
Well, to be brutally honest with you, right now, my relationship isn't to the audience.
Yeah.
My relationship is to the play and to the director and to the actors who are working very hard every day to mount this show. We're now in previews. My job as an understudy is to first and foremost learn my lines, and also to observe and to watch and to try and get a sense of the director's intent in terms of how he crafted the production, and to get that into my body as much as I can without having any kind of rehearsal. We will have our first rehearsal the day after we open. And so my time now is a very solitary job where it's all about me in my head, learning what I have to do as best I can. But I'm not thinking about the audience because my relationship is to the play. I'm a servant of the play. I'm a servant to the director. I'm a servant to the other actors. I'm a servant to the story. And the audience is something that, I don't think about in this process. Although, it crosses your mind. But ultimately, I have a job to do, because ultimately those people who come and see me or come and see the play, they won't want me to stink. And so they'll be supporting me.
This is a true thing. Well, and you're right. You have to be true to the work, and to the director. Well, Joe, it is fantastic. The Iceman cometh. You are another domer who has made the university so proud, and good luck in this project. It opens on Broadway April 26th, and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Joe. All right, let's go back over to Joe Theismann at the Hiller family midfield set. Joe.
Thanks, Steve. It's great to be back here. I am with one of our basketball players, one of our many senior basketball players, Martinez Gibbon. Now, going to make it real easy. Your teammates call you Marty. I'm going to call you Marty. Obviously, he played from Lithuania. How did you wind up at Notre Dame from Lithuania to South Bend?
So I attended a basketball camp in Lithuania in 2011, and the guy that runs the camp was impressed by the way I played there. So it put me in contact with some of the coaches over in the United States, and actually ended up in contact with my high school coach. Ended up, figuring out how to get to the United States, and he helped me get to the high school, and I played 3 years of high school basketball here.
Did you play much in Lithuania before you came?
Yeah, in Lithuania we have amateur basketball clubs, and I belong to one of those. So I started playing basketball in the 5th grade and have been playing ever since.
Why Notre Dame?
Many reasons. At the time when I was making the decision, it was about academics, high level of basketball, and the faith aspect of the school.
Now, something interesting happened to this basketball team this year. Most teams vote and have an MVP. What you basically had was an MVP group. 5 seniors were voted the MVPs. How special was that to be part of a group of men who will be graduating and going on with their lives, but yet taking with them the fact that they were a group that were considered the most valuable part of the basketball team?
I think it's extremely special. I think it doesn't put one person above the rest, because as a group we were able to do something extremely special, something that other groups and other graduating classes here at Notre Dame on the men's basketball team have not been able to do, which is win 103 games over the span of 4 years. So, it's something we will cherish forever, and it'll be very special for us to look back on.
Speaking of cherished moments, tell me about the last time you heard the Lithuanian national anthem.
Yeah, it was this season on senior night against Pittsburgh. The whole night was extremely special for all of us. Obviously, we got to walk out in front of the fans with our families and be recognized that way, but to be able to hear my national anthem and be surprised by that was extremely special, and I was totally caught off guard. So, I'll always remember that.
Did you cry? Was there a tear? Come on, you can man up to me.
Absolutely. There were a few tears that rolled down my cheeks.
That's great. What's your favorite memory of Notre Dame?
I think there's so many, but I think one that stands out from this year is the way we played in Maui, and that whole experience. I mean, being out there was amazing. It was like paradise. The beach, the sun, the weather. You can't really compare.
Just like South Bend.
Yeah, no, completely different.
Some days like that, yeah.
So, that was extremely special. Obviously, we ended up winning the whole thing, and just spending time with my teammates and all the other people on staff was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Marty. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go away anywhere because we got a lot more coming up.
For a national championship or overtime. Ogunbowale for the win. Good! Enrique Ogunbowale wins the national championship for Notre Dame.
I was thinking 2 nights in a row, I don't know if this is going to happen again, the miracle, but it is Easter Sunday, and all the Catholics out there were praying for us. Definitely needed it all.
And the Irish do it again for the first time in 17 years.
You could put that shot on a loop, and I could watch it for 29 straight hours. It never gets old. Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Ann Thompson, and it's nice to have you here with us. This next story is truly going to blow your mind, and this is how it's going to do it, because I'm going to tell you about a guy named Kevin Murphy. He is a Notre Dame alum who was an ROTC student who earned a liberal arts degree. He served 5 years in the military, came back, went to medical school, actually ran a bar called Cactus Jack's here in South Bend, went to med school at University of Chicago, and now he is a brain oncologist at the University of California in San Diego. Dr. Kevin Murphy, it is great to have you here at Notre Dame Day. Now, before we get to this exciting project that you're working on, my question to you is, how do you go from being a ROTC person to an engineer on an aircraft to one of the nation's leading brain oncologists?
Well, thank you for that nice compliment, first of all. I was an engineer back in the Navy and had a experience that pushed me toward medicine. I was a officer in charge of a group of wounded being flown off the carrier to Bahrain, and we got there to meet the hospital ship, and it was gone. And so we were stuck, and we worked with a group of British folks and some Humvees and got to a MASH unit in the middle of the desert, and I was there for 2 weeks, kind of stranded with 60 doctors who I spent time with and became enamored with their work and what they were doing. So I left the military, got a neurophysiology master's degree, went on to medical school, now oncology and radiation oncology.
And what you are doing now is something called PRTMS. That's the acronym for it. What is it? And for those of us who are non-brain scientists, exactly what are you doing to the brain?
Well, I think a way to describe it easy for those that don't look at brain anatomy like we do is the brain beats like your heart beats. It has a rhythm, and it likes to be in a certain nice synchronous rhythm. And lots of things we do destroy that rhythm, either bad sleep or medications or drugs. And we place a magnet over the area that is in disrepair, and we realign brainwaves. And we do it with a very light microcurrent that's not felt by the patient. It's repetitive therapy.
No pain.
No pain, outpatient. It takes about 20, 30 minutes a day to do this. And when we do so, we actually create a synchronous region to other areas of the brain. There may be a video we show that talks about this. And you can see where activation occurs in various regions in order. And my goal was to look at the brain during stimulation and see what was turning on, what areas were talking to which areas of the brain, and how synchronous they were.
This discovery came from your own personal experience. And in fact, you showed me the video that you mentioned earlier today that I really found phenomenal. What was your own personal experience?
Well, as an oncologist and a radiation therapist and a person that treats pediatrics and adult brain tumors with personalized approaches, I was looking for ways to fix my son with autism and was looking at neuromodulatory techniques and ways to stimulate, and came across this idea, began treating him, seeing great results, started treating other kids with autism.
When you say great results, what did you see in your son?
Well, he was verbal but not very verbal, and had trouble with emotional processing and sleep. And to have your son sleep in the first time in 6-7 years was pretty remarkable. I knew we were onto something.
And that is just by making, if you think of the brain as these connections, getting those connections to go all the way through the brain.
Well, you can think of the brain as being a series and regions of electrical activity that likes to work like an orchestra. And ideally, each region is at the same frequency of other regions, and you get nice communication levels going back and forth. When you have a lack of frequency being equal, you create noise.
Now, the Department of Defense is really interested in what you're doing. What's attracted them about your research?
Well, we started treating veterans with PTSD, and we do that now at our institute in San Diego. And we had to fund that a bit through the Peak MD Institute, which is a non-for-profit to help pay for those services. And we were seeing great reductions in anxiety, depression, alcohol use. And that led toward some operators that were active duty who were doing better in performance. And so we became a group that has now worked with several groups in the DoD in Operations Command, looking at various levels of increasing performance.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much for explaining. It's really fascinating work that you're doing, and to see what you're able to do by getting the brain to function again as it should is really remarkable. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
It's nice to meet you.
Great, thank you.
Now we're going to go to our performance stage to check in with Ann Maxfield. Ann?
Hi, thank you so much, Ann. Now, what could be more fitting for Notre Dame Day than watching an Irish jig, right? I'm here with Notre Dame's 6-time championship winning Irish dance team, right? 6 times. You guys are amazing. How often would you practice together on a regular basis?
We usually practice about 2 times a week, and then if you're on the Cayley team that goes to the All-Irelands, we practice even more on top of that.
And what sort of things are judged on in competition? What do you have to do to be judged?
There's a lot. Usually you focus on keeping your arms in, turning your feet out, and being up on your toes are the big things.
Keeping your arms in. All right, so what are you going to perform for us today?
We're going to do what we call the Step About Reel.
Step About Reel? Take it away. job. Very nimble on your feet. Okay, let's go back to Steve now in the Notre Dame studio.
Oh, my goodness, ladies, that was just fantastic. Well, they were just wonderful. Thanks, Ann. There are few toys that gain the status of iconic, but among them is the radio flyer, the traditional red wagon, a childhood staple for nearly 100 years for millions of people. Started by Antonio Passon in Chicago in 1917, Radio Flyer is a family business, and they are going strong. Sales topping $100 million in 2016. Joining us now on the Notre Dame Day video hotline is Antonio's grandson and current, if I have your title correct, Radio Flyer CWO, which is Chief Wagon Operator. Robert Passon, thank you for joining us for Notre Dame Day.
Great to be with you, Steve.
Well, it's an exciting day for us and exciting to have you. First, about the legacy. You know, your grandfather starts this business over 100 years ago. There has to be such a sense of pride in carrying on that legacy.
Well, there really is. I mean, it's an honor to be part of it, and I've always felt so grateful to be part of the family that started Radio Flyer. And it's just amazing to be part of a company and a product where when you say the name Radio Flyer, the first thing people do is smile. And the second thing they do is tell a story. And the stories are always these wonderful stories about childhood and kids using their imagination to go on adventures and being with their family and people they love. So it's just wonderful to be part of it.
Now, on the subject of legacy, that I understand you were not the only Passon to attend Notre Dame. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, well, my dad attended Notre Dame. He graduated in 1954. My dad, Mario, he did undergrad and law school, so he was at Notre Dame for 6 years. And then my brother, Paul, also graduated from Notre Dame Law School. And my nephew, Augustin, is a freshman at Notre Dame right now.
Oh, well, then it's a real family affair. We love to hear all that. All right, you're not going to pat yourself on the back, so let me do it a little bit. You took over the company in 1997. Radio Flyer was facing some challenges. There was no doubt about that, with growth, profitability. Since then, the company has just exploded in its growth. What was the vision that you had in 1997 that you have given to this company that now makes it one of Forbes' list, America's top small businesses?
Well, you know, like any company through the years, you know, we've had our ups and downs. And, you know, I always say we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and the giants being my dad and my grandpa, who built this incredible company and brand. But we were faced with figuring out really who we were going to become for the future. And we decided that, you know, that we really needed to focus on three things: our purpose, our people, and our products. And our purpose is to bring smiles to kids of all ages and create warm memories that last a lifetime. And we knew that we had to kind of transform ourselves from being a manufacturer to a really design company, a product development company. And that brings us to our people. And we started hiring really creative, talented designers and engineers, many of whom graduated from Notre Dame, who really built our product development team that fueled our growth. And that's what brings then products. So the products that we come out with are really anything that kids can ride on, anything with wheels for kids. So now we're into tricycles and scooters, and we're really all about creating awesome kids products that inspire active play.
All right, two more quick questions for you. There are iconic American toys, Barbie, hula hoop, silly putty, Radio Flyer, an iconic toy. Are you ever surprised that the status that Radio Flyer has maintained for over 100 years?
Well, I thank God for it daily. And I think one of the reasons why it's so iconic is because at its core, Radio Flyer is a vehicle of the imagination. It can be anything you imagine it to be, and it can take you anywhere you want to go. And there are very few products that have been around as long as we have. And so if you're a grandparent or a parent, you know, there's only a handful of really wonderful products that you can give your kids that you had as a kid, and that have that same intrinsic value and bring that delight and joy to families.
All right, we got about 15 seconds left. I just want you to touch on what I think is really just an exciting partnership, and that is a partnership with Tesla. Just explain that very briefly.
Yes, well, we approached Tesla about 4 years ago when we wanted to enter the electric kids car market. And we were just so inspired by what Elon Musk and Tesla are doing. And we wanted to create the same kind of Tesla experience of being able to customize a car with a lithium-ion battery, and you can personalize it and put your kid's name on the license plate. These are all firsts that have never been done before in kids' cars. And it's just been an amazing partnership.
Boy, that really is. Well, Radio Flyer will thrive over the next 100 years. Robert Passon, thank you so much for joining us, and go Irish, go Radio Flyer.
Thank you.
All right, let's check in with Justine Ward. Justine?
Hey, well, we're coming to you from the Compton Family Ice Arena, where we have a little curling match set up in honor of the U.S. men's team winning gold in the Olympics. Joining me now, Mike Golick Jr., first-time curler, as well as Mike Golick. And we also have members from the Notre Dame curling team. Let's start with you, Mike. I hear you're a big curling fan. How are you feeling going into this one?
Little nervous right now. Been a big curling fan, watched a lot of the Olympic coverage, always thought it'd be fun to get out here and throw the stones. Now that we're here, it's a little daunting. A new surface, different than what I'm used to, but going to find a way to overcome.
All right, and Marissa, the veteran over here, how are you feeling about going against these two?
Oh, I'm ready. Was born ready for this moment. Nothing intimidates me these days.
Are you intimidated?
Listen, I'm trying to throw down the intimidation. It's the only chance we have against Marissa and Alice over here. We're in a lot of trouble.
All right, let's get you guys set up. I'm ready to see this. All right, so Alice is going first. See how she does it. And the broom's coming out. Mike's ready.
She looked really good doing that. The form was really good.
Very graceful.
Yeah, it really was. I will look nothing like that. It's going to look like a score. So my choice is she just guarded there. I'm going to score. Watch.
Okay, let's see. Here he goes, Mike Golick. Mike Golick Jr. ready with the broom here. Oh no, it's coming right for it. Knocked it out. So Alice is going to go again. How'd you feel, Mike?
I felt good, but I curled the wrong way. So I have curling issues.
What'd you think of your son in the broom action? I thought he looked...
He was horrible. He was horrible. I was trying to he needed to sweep so my stone wouldn't hit their stone, and you saw what happened. So he failed miserably.
Any tips you have for Junior here?
Make sure our stone is better than their stone in this one. Oh my God, I'm in a lot of trouble. She's guarded there. Oh boy, where am I putting?
Coming up with a plan of attack here. Alice, come on over. How are the Golicks doing? I want to know.
Oh, they're doing great. He just bumped mine into the house, so I'm feeling great about it. We'll see how this one goes, but they're doing well for first-time curlers.
What are you seeing form-wise?
It's perfect. The bent knee, that's what we want.
How about the broom? What's like some broom technique?
Honestly, in the sweeping, he looks good. It's just, you got to get your body into it and just give it all you got.
Okay, so who won? What is the point spread here?
So in this, I got one, so I have one in the house, which means we get 1 point and he has none. So it's 1-0 right now.
All right, so you guys are beating the boys. What can you say? I think Mike Golick Jr. is about to do it, but we're getting the wrap. Maybe we'll let Mike Golick Jr. get in one. Mike, come on over. Mike, we gotta set it back to the studio, but how did you feel overall?
I felt pretty good on that. Mike should have stopped the stone. He swept too hard that time and took it right out of the scoring. So I think I did well. I think Junior was horrible.
First curling experience on a scale of 1 to 10.
Love it. Absolute 10. Fantastic sport.
All right, Mike, thank you. And we'll send it back to you.
I'm joined now on the Notre Dame video hotline by my good friend Cindy Parsegian, a Notre Dame alum, trustee, and the daughter-in-law of the legendary former football coach Ara Parsegian. Cindy and her husband Mike have dedicated their lives to finding a cure for Niemann-Pick type C disease, a rare genetic disorder that claimed the lives of 3 of their 4 children. Their efforts have helped raise more than $45 million in the past 2 decades. Cindy, thanks so much for speaking with us tonight. I just wish you were here. I don't like you being so far.
Soon.
So first of all, let's talk about how the research landscape around Niemann-Pick type C has changed from when Michael and Marcia and Krista were first diagnosed in the 1990s.
And in 94, when the children were diagnosed and we started our foundation, very little was understood about Niemann-Pick type C disease. Now we've advanced the research not only in the understanding the basic science of the disease, but in developing therapies. When we started, there was about 1.5 labs working on the disease. Now we'll have a conference in June, our annual science conference, and we expect 100 researchers to show up for this meeting. So not only have the number of researchers increased dramatically, but so has the quality of the research.
And where are you, everybody wants a cure, but where are you on that path at this point?
Well, we are making great strides. In fact, there is a phase 2/3 drug trial that just was completed about 3 weeks ago. And because the FDA gave it the designation as a promising new drug, the agency must rule on whether to approve the drug within 6 months. And I fully expect the FDA to approve this drug by the end of October. And this drug, while it is not a cure, it appears to be slowing the disease process in many of the children taking the drug, thus providing these children with a longer, fuller life, and it gives us more time to advance the research. So we are also working on a newborn screen to identify NPC children so that they can begin treatment before the symptoms develop.
Yeah, because you found that the early intervention makes a big difference.
It does. In this disease, it's a cholesterol storage disease where cholesterol gets trapped in all of the cells. Children are born perfectly healthy. And as the children get older and the cholesterol gets trapped in the cells, you see a breakdown in the neurological system. So if we can stop or prevent the cholesterol and other lipids from ever getting into the cells and getting clogged there, we're hoping that we can really make an impact in these children's lives.
You have taken the Böhler-Parsegian Center for the Ara Parsegian Medical Research Fund and placed it here at Notre Dame. Why did you decide to do that, and what does it mean to you personally?
Well, the Böhler-Parsegian Rare Disease Center is unique in that it's reaching a segment of our population that is often ignored. And Notre Dame, as part of its mission, wants to help the underserved. And children and adults with rare disease fit that. And so I think it's very appropriate for it to be at Notre Dame, where we know, you and I and everyone involved with Notre Dame knows how it reaches to help those people that need it the most.
And having that community around you, how has that helped you endure what I think is a challenge that none of us can imagine, not just losing 1 child, but losing 3?
Well, Anne, our family is a small family, but we've just had an army of supporters, of researchers that have helped in our fundraising efforts, in our science development, but that we cannot forget the ones that have also held us emotionally. That they've held our family emotionally with tears of understanding, with prayers of support, and acts of compassion. And I'll tell you that's what's been able to allow our family to keep moving forward.
Cindy, all I can say is that next year we're going to do it here and we're going to be together and we'll do this in person. I miss you. I'll see you in 2 weeks for the trustee meeting. And thank you so much for joining us for another Notre Dame Day. And I hope that you do as well this year as you did last year.
Okay. Take care.
Take care. It's that time again. We're going to check in with the Social Media Center to see how those votes are stacking up. Jonathan?
Hey, thank you so much, Ann. And I got to tell you, the Parsegian Medical Research Fund and the Bola Parsegian Center for Rare and Neglected Diseases both having amazing starts to Notre Dame Day. Thanks to each and every one of you around the country and around the world who have been a part of Notre Dame Day. You've made that minimum $10 gift. You've cast your 5 votes for this year's $1.1 million challenge fund. Over 13,000 gifts so far. We had about 26,000 last year, so we're off to a tremendous start, What I will tell you is that the rest of this leaderboard, Rowing Club, Financial Aid, you saw before, are still up there. Ultimate Frisbee down to number 6, so clearly they have some, they had off to an early start, a quick start, but they have some room to make up as well, followed by the Liturgical Choir, who we've seen before on Notre Dame Day, ND Seed, and Sacred Music, who we've seen on Notre Dame Day as well. One of the competitions that I'll bring up on my iPad here that we have been seeing some very close competition with is in the Notre Dame Club. So overall, Notre Dame Club of Cincinnati is our #1 Notre Dame Club right now with 375 votes. The Notre Dame Club of Central Illinois is in second place among Notre Dame clubs with 310 votes, followed by the Indy Club of Stuart, Florida. They came out of nowhere last year. They had an amazing year. They're off to another really strong start this year, along with the Notre Dame Club of Central New York and Jersey Shore. So we're going to go into those in a little bit more in depth in later hours, but off to a really good start for the clubs. I will say last hour's hourly challenge, Residence Hall, St. Ed's Hall, congrats to you, you get $500. A reminder, this hour is athletics group, so give and vote for that $500 challenge for this hour. Let's go over to Kim here. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
What's happening next hour?
I've been looking forward to this hour all day. Kicking it off will be Patrick Reed. Golf fans, this is huge. He's fresh off of Masters victory. Just when I started to feel good about my green jacket,
I think his is a little better.
He's going to outdo me. His is infinitely better. You're not going to want to miss Patrick. Followed by Chloe Agnew. If you haven't heard Chloe sing, she is phenomenal. Of Celtic Woman fame, she is someone who is really inspiring and really gets you in the Notre Dame spirit. Next up, we have Vice Admiral Christopher Grady. He's a Notre Dame alum, and he'll be joining us live from a battleship. Pretty incredible. The Fighting Irish 40 will be next. We'll have the men's prelims. Jonathan, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, those prelims for the ladies were pretty fast. The men, I'm sure, are going to be even better.
They're going to be fast. Finally, Golic sandwich competition. The winning sandwich will be in Legends. It's a huge competition, and we're really looking forward to this next hour.
That was one of my favorite pieces last year was the Golic sandwich competition. I'm excited to see the creativity those students bring out this year. In the meantime, hope you stick around. So much more. The 5th annual Notre Dame Day. We'll catch you at the top of the hour in a few minutes.
The mind. It processes every image, every voice, every word on the page. Yearning to understand, inspired by faith, it paints a picture of the world. When given the chance to examine things from different perspectives, to turn conventional thought upside down, the mind soars.